Hello everyone, and welcome to Chef Lab Kitchen, where cooking meets science. Today, we're making fresh homemade bread using the amazing process of fermentation.
And hopefully, nothing goes wrong.
To make bread, we need these ingredients. First, flour. Next, water. Third, we have sugar. And finally, yeast.
The yeast used in baking is called Saccharomyces cerevisiae. It is a microorganism that performs alcoholic fermentation.
First, we mix warm water, sugar, and yeast.
Wait, why do we add sugar?
Because yeast use glucose to make food. During fermentation, yeast breaks down glucose to form energy called ATP.
Whoa, really?
Hello humans, I am Saccharomyces cerevisiae. I love eating sugar. When I eat glucose, I produce carbon dioxide and ethanol. Now, watch what happens.
In this clip, we are demonstrating how yeast grows into a mixture of sugar, water, and yeast. Yeast is a living microorganism, which means it is a tiny organism that is not visible to the naked eye. Despite its size, it plays a very important role in fermentation. When we combine yeast with warm water, it becomes activated, or meaning it wakes up from its inactive state. The sugar added in the mixture serves as its fruit source. As the yeast begins to feed in the sugar, it undergoes a process called fermentation. During fermentation, the yeast breaks down the sugar and releases carbon dioxide gas and a small amount of alcohol as byproducts. This is a natural biological process that allows the yeast to produce energy for growth and reproduction. We can observe this activity through visible changes in the mixture. After a few minutes of bubbles, it begins to form and layer of foam may appear in the surface. These bubbles are made of carbon dioxide gas that the yeast is producing. Because this mixture is more than liquid, the gas can easily rise to the surface and escape, which is why bubbling is clearly visible. In this clip, we demonstrate yeast fermentation in a different form by adding flour to the mixture. When flour is added, the mixture changes from a liquid to a thicker substance known as dough. This change in texture affects how fermentation appears, even though the process itself remains the same. Just like in the first setup, the yeast continues to feed on sugar. In this case, the flour contains starches that are broken down into sugar, which the yeast can then consume. As the yeast feeds, it continues the process of fermentation and produces carbon dioxide gas. However, unlike the liquid mixture in the first clip, the gas produced here does not easily escape. This is because the flour forms a network of proteins called gluten. When mixed with water, this gluten network acts like a flexible structure that traps the gas bubbles inside the dough. As more gas is produced and trapped, the dough begins to expand. This is what causes the dough to rise. Instead of seeing bubbles on the surface, we observe an increase in the size and volume of the dough. The dough becomes lighter and filled with air pockets. This process is essential in bread making because it gives the bread a soft and airy texture. Without fermentation, the dough would remain dense and flat. This clip demonstrates the yeast behaves differently depending on the mixture. In the first demonstration, it shows that there is bubbling in the liquid, while in this clip, it shows that gas is trapped to create rising in solid dough. But both, however, are the result of the same fermentation process. This fermented dough has direct application in baking breads, pizzas, and pastries at homes. It also has educational value in teaching fermentation processes and food science in community programs in everyday life. Furthermore, Zian, what are the other foods that can be used for fermentation?
Fermentation is used to make many foods, including bread, yogurt, cheese, and fermented grains.
The bread has a soft texture and a slightly yeasty aroma. It is similar to commercial bakery bread. Today we learned how fermentation works and how microorganisms produce energy through anaerobic respiration.
And remember, without me, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, bread would never rise.
Thank
you for
watching! I love eating sugar. When I eat glucose, I produce carbon dioxide and ethanol. Hello, humans! Hello, humans!
Organisms produce energy through anaerobic respiration.
And remember, without me, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, bread would never rise.
Thank you
you
for
for
watching.